Thank you. Calling to order the City Council meeting of January 12th, 2021. This is the first meeting of the new year. I think we are all glad that 2020 is behind us and looking to a brighter and healthier year for 2021. So, Sherry, can you take a roll call, please?
Mayor Miller?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Councilmember Frizzalone is excused. Councilmember Palace?
Here.
Thank you, Sherry. Reverend Bob, can you please lead us in our prayer?
Before I pray tonight, I would like to continue to extend our condolences to the family, friends, and staff of Officer Darius DeBarros, and to thank the city for the humbling honor it was to be a part of his service last Monday. And if we could just take a moment of silence. Let us pray. God of all creation, we come before you in humility and with repentant hearts. We do not always behave in the ways that lead to goodness, nor do we love our neighbor as we love ourselves. We have seen the damage that can be done when we lose sight of these things. Lord, we pray your healing come upon our nation in this crucial time. Embolden each of us who love this nation to do what we can to understand one another. Bring us together to work for peace. May what is accomplished here in these chambers tonight help make for more peace in our community and thus in our world. Guide all who lead, serve, and live here, and shine light upon the ways that we can live together as responsible citizens. For we pray these things in the name of the one who is the author of both liberty and justice. Amen.
Amen.
Before I begin the Pledge of Allegiance, Reverend Bob, I would just like to say to you and your church, thank you so much for being such a great neighbor and offering us your facility. You were right, it was a wonderful service, and we appreciate everything that you do for us. Thank you.
Very moving, yes.
We can begin now. Pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I understand this evening we have a special honor, a milestone recognition for our council manager community from the FCCMA. Who will be presenting that? If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the award.
Sure. My name is Mike Gribos. I'm the Assistant City Manager for the City of DeLand, and I'll read the prepared speech and I'll answer all your questions. So, good evening, Honorable Mayor, Commission, or Council, and the City Manager and Department staff in attendance tonight. My name is Mike Gribos. I'm the Assistant City Manager for the City of DeLand. I serve as the City FCCMA District 2 Director, and the District 2 for FCCMA stretches from Volusia County, which we're the southern portion, all the way up to Taylor County, which has been the big bend of the state. On behalf of FCCMA, we are privileged to present the City of Daytona Beach Shores with their certificate celebrating 2020, because we couldn't make it a little earlier, but 2020 as your 40th year as council manager form of government, as recognized by the International City County Management Association, which is ICMA in short. And on behalf of the board and local officers, the board of directors, and the membership of FCCMA, we offer our sincere congratulations on this milestone achievement. A little bit back, the council manager form of government was created to help separate administration from direct political influence and establish merit-based practices within local government. It's modeled after a corporation's framework where you have voters who are stockholders who select the council, which is like the board of directors, who in turn appoint a manager, which is the professional executive, to advise the council and implement its actions through ordinances and policies. In Florida, nearly 70% of all 411 cities, towns, and villages operate under the council-manager form of government. And of the 67 counties in the state, all but 2 are professionally managed. The city of Daytona Beach Shores is recognized as a great example of the council-manager form of government, where you all have been a council that works together well and a professional manager to make decisions and establish policies that are in the best interest of your stakeholders. The Shores is fortunate to have an FCCMA member leading your city, Manager Mike Booker. In doing my background research, Mr. Booker has over 3 decades of local government management and leadership experience. He is respected and by professionals around the county, state, and beyond as an individual who maintains the highest integrity, ethics, and is always willing to promote their community while helping those cities who may need assistance. Mr. Booker leads a staff of committed professionals to providing the highest quality of life to the residents of the Shores. On behalf of FCCMA and all the council manager communities within our county and the state of Florida, we congratulate the city of Daytona Beach Shores on this milestone achievement of being a council manager community for over 40 years. So I have a certificate to present to you tonight, and that's all.
Much, I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to recognize Alan Rosen, soon-to-be manager of Lake County.
Lake County.
Congratulations, Alan, I've heard a lot of good things about you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, next we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from December 8th, 2020. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll move to accept the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? If not, Sherry, can you take a roll on this, please?
Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Politis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. Moving on now to the consent agenda. Nothing needs to be pulled for discussion, I will accept a motion now for these 3 items.
I'll move to accept.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Any discussion? If not, Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Councilmember Politis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. Okay, next we'll hear the report of our city attorney. Attorney Carey, what do you have for us this evening?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. The report for the city attorney for this week is a drafted economic development ordinance, which you'll hear later this meeting on first reading. This Stroud's Barbecue Economic Development Grant Agreement was revised in accordance with your direction at the last meeting. We'll keep this approved on the consent agenda. And we drafted an audit letter for the auditing firm in accordance with the development practice.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Attorney Carey? Okay, if not, then we'll move on to our city manager report. City Manager Booker, what do you have for us this evening?
Well, Madam Mayor, first of all, I'm sorry that Alan and Mike didn't stay because of those 40 years that the city's been a member of ICMA. I've been privileged to be the manager of 21 of those 40 years. So it's kind of a milestone.
It is.
It's actually, to make myself feel even older, 3.5 decades of management experience. Mike was kind.
Yes, I wish they would have stayed.
Madam Mayor, first on the agenda is, my agenda is Halifax Health Services. They have returned and signed the amended agreement per the council's wishes to the city, and the demolition of the former senior center, if anybody's been by there, is well underway. We're working with, in the early stages, on a pedestrian overpass sign at the Daytona Beach Shores and Spa, which would place a city logo on their pedestrian overpass on both sides. And we have our consultant, Fred Farrell, working on that with them. Hopefully we'll have more to report on that as the year goes on. In regard to city council goals, as of this writing, I only received a list of goals from you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor Lindauer, and Councilmember Frizzalone. In an effort to to expedite the upcoming workshop, please send any goals you have for the upcoming year to our city clerk. Regarding bocce and shuffleboard, both courts are essentially complete and ready for play. There are just a few cosmetic changes that we need to make to those. And I know heavy on everybody's mind is vaccinations. County Council Member Billy Wheeler will be at the January 13 coffee with the mayor to brief everyone on the county's efforts. And just to preface that meeting, the question is not, do we want to do vaccinations or do we have personnel to do vaccinations? The question is getting the vaccinations, getting the actual serum for the vaccinations. And we're getting that in very short supply. So we're going to work as hard as we can in conjunction with the county and possibly in conjunction with the Drive-In Christian Church if they approve that site as an area to give shots. Maybe we can help our residents get that serum a little faster. One thing that's not on my report, Madam Mayor, that came in late, and I do want to mention it because I think it deserves consideration by council. We received a letter from Becky Carpenter regarding Oceans Grand. She would like to ask the council if they would, beginning February 8th, allow them to use 20 parking spaces over at the community center because they're doing some work over the condo and can't park their cars there. So I wanted to make you aware of that and see if you approve actually.
Hey, Councilman Bryant, did you know about this work? Is it being done at your condo? Have they contacted you?
It's expected to last about a month, and there are a number of cars that are parked up on the upper deck, and there's not enough room below that for all those cars to park.
Are they doing it in shifts or are they doing the whole time? Can they do it in one?
We have a board member from Oceans Grand. Do you have anything to add, Phil?
Come forward.
Certainly. Just state your name, please.
My name is Dr. Phil Day. I'm Vice President of the Board, and apologies to the President of the Board that you could not be here tonight. But it's a similar project that Oceans West did, and you granted them the privilege and the opportunity to park some cars, I think a larger number than we're requesting. We're requesting somewhere between 20, 25 or so. The project is smaller in scope. It's going to be done all at once. We talked about doing it in stages, but that only inconveniences everybody. We're hoping that it'll get done in 4 months, and we're expecting the work that would require 4 weeks. Well, that's the work that's required where we would need to offload some of the parking. The work will be continuous, but because of the way the contractor is going to be staging the work, we actually will be able to still use parts of the upper deck because of the way they're going to stage that work up there. So we'd like to have you give some favorable consideration to this, if you will. Again, it's smaller than scope than what was taking place at Oceans West. It's not lasting nearly as long. And we try to be as good neighbors as we possibly can. And we think once this project is finished, it will add some additional value to all of what we refer to as Oceans West.
Thank you very much.
And Madam Mayor, we have about 20 or 21
Yeah,
spaces on that north line adjacent to the Oceans Grand driveway entrance. That probably wouldn't inconvenience anyone who needs to.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, and I do appreciate, if I remember correctly, I think you were a good neighbor to Oceans West as well,
We did.
and you offered them some spaces. So
Absolutely.
we certainly would want to be a good neighbor and do that too. I have to be honest with you, it did get out of hand on the Oceans West. We had allotted them certain spaces and they took advantage. We had to call them several times. I think what you're asking for will be no problem whatsoever because it really wouldn't interfere with the tennis. That's what happened last time. So on the north side of this lot right here, Mike and I just counted, we thought there was about 20 to 21 spaces. Whatever those are, so on the going up the driveway to your condo, we would be able to.
The cars, because of the problems that you've experienced before, all of our cars that will be designated to park in that area will be tagged separately, and our staff will be policing it a little bit and make sure that everybody's behaving themselves.
Okay, thank you. I don't think that should be a problem.
I don't think so.
I think I want to state though too, we would not take any responsibility
Correct.
if something happened and a car was broken into at night.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your
You're very
consideration.
welcome.
I appreciate it.
Was there any
You just
question?
need a sense of the council. You just need a
Yeah,
sense.
just a consensus.
Yes, consensus,
Oh.
yes.
Yeah.
Councilman Brad?
Yes.
Okay. Vice Mayor Lindo?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Before we go on, so there are two that we do not have yet on these goals. Councilman Politis, do you think you might be able to get those?
I already got him.
Well, great. That's
Throw the
quick.
mic right now.
Thank you so much. Councilman Bryan?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay, do you think you can do it by the end of this week?
It was scratched.
Okay. So what we're looking for is if whoever remember, we're gonna have a workshop on the second, I believe it's January 22nd, that meeting. So it's just goals that we're looking forward to. What do we want to work on as a council, as a city? So we'll probably come up with, I think, probably 5 or 6 goals, and we'll narrow it down that day to 3, 4 that we can work with. So similar to the visioning session we have 2 years ago, but on a much smaller scope. So that's what we're planning on doing. Thank you. Any questions for our city manager?
No, I just would like to say that I thought the design on the proposal for the city logo really is a great idea, and I'd love to see that on the crosswalk.
Sure.
Secondly, do we have any control over, we would be able to do a lot more with the bars, the serum that doesn't need to be frozen at 70 degrees below zero or something. Do we have any control over that? Because if we got that, we would be able to use our EMTs and so forth, and the Christian Center, or the drive-in.
We do plan, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, we do plan to do that once the serum's available. I think the county's allocation was originally supposed to be how much, Mayor?
2,000 this weekend they got.
And it's 500.
500.
So the problem, it's a dual problem. It's not, we'll be able to administer it once we get it, but the manufacturer is slow, and then the distribution is whatever the federal government says it is. But we'll do everything we can, Vice Mayor, to expedite it.
We could obviously handle the one that doesn't need to be frozen at
Yes.
70 degrees below zero, right? So if we got a choice, we certainly would like to get that one.
And it's a one shot too, which is what I'm waiting for.
I was going to go over this in my comments, but I think I'm just going to take the time to do this now. Nancy Maddox and I were in a meeting last week, well, actually it was the county council meeting, and then city manager Booker and I, we found out a little bit more information too. So I want to tell you what the goal is of Volusia County. They will be the ones that are administrating it now. So the first thing, I absolutely said that fiasco that was at Daytona Stadium with no appointments absolutely will not happen again. So everything will be by reservations. But you have to remember with this, there is a very extreme amount of demand and a very, very low supply. We can do whatever we can to try. Luckily, well, Reverend Bob left. I mean, he is just so awesome, they offer the church. I have talked to Joe Pozo several times, who is the Director of Emergency Management, that their intent is not to do just little stand-up community center type thing. Their intent is to find a place on the east side and the west side, preferably drive-in. So with that being said, first of all, it comes from the federal government down to the state, and then the state decides how many each county are going to get. Once it comes to a county, though, they have to take it out for the VA, they take out for the hospitals in the area for their personnel, and that's what is left for us. And I want to be crystal clear, though, even if we get it in the shores, it is not exclusive to the shores. So if we have that location, it would be great because it would be closer, but it would still require an appointment. And that would mean that anybody from Volusia County, any county in the state, any state in the United States, anyone could make a reservation and show up at that location. Mike, do I understand that they said even if somebody came from Canada, we couldn't turn them away?
Yeah, because it's a federal program, Yeah, even international, we have to vaccinate.
So I would love to have it in here in the shores, but remember too, somebody from Orlando could come, somebody from Jacksonville, so it would not be exclusive to our community. So what they said, and Mike, quote me if any of this is wrong, when the reservations come, they can take care of about 120 people at the beginning. They'd like to ramp it up to 150. So the Driving Christian Church would be great because with our chief maintaining the traffic, you know, we can get them in there, we can park them. You have to wait 15 to 30 minutes afterwards for that. So it sounds like it's perfect, but what I'm understanding is they want permanent location, that when you come here on this date, you come 21 days later or 28 days later. So did that answer any of the questions? Or Vice Mayor, do you still have some questions after I explained what I learned on that? Any other questions after that?
I was just hoping that, I know that CVS and Walgreens both have contracts with the federal government to do the nursing homes first. But I'm hoping that they get through that and they start offering the shots, because they already have a thing in progress for doing the flu shots. Also, I was thrilled to see that the governor announced that Publix is on board now, 3 counties in, I think, the western side. But it would be nice to see Publix throughout the state also do it, because again, they're used to giving shots. Not a lot, but every little bit helps. And so those are the things I'm hoping for. I don't know what we can...
And we are too. And what they asked was, please have patience. They understand that a lot of people want this, and they're thrilled that that many people are stepping up to get it. They were afraid that a lot of people are going to say they don't want it. But again, the demand far exceeds the supply we have right now. We will be getting more supply. When the Johnson & Johnson comes, the one shot, I think that would be the beauty of it, because right now, even when they give the first vaccine, they have to hold that much aside for the second vaccine that takes away from the first one. So, but yeah, we are doing whatever we can, and we will not be dropping the ball on that. Billy Wheeler will be there tomorrow. I don't know if she'll have any additional information, but that's what Mike and I learned from yesterday.
Oh, and if everyone would join me in congratulating Mayor Miller. She is now the vice chair of the Volusia Elected Roundtables Group.
All right.
Yes, effective, I guess, next month. And Heidi Hertzberg, the mayor of DeLand, will be the chair this year, and then next January I'll take over and be the chair. So thank you very much.
And could Tallahassee be far behind?
Okay, so next, moving on. I'm sorry.
I'd like to make a comment and a question. Some of you might be interested in knowing that there's data now that shows that the longevity of the vaccine and if you got it, your immunity is likely to last more than a year. Up until recently, there hasn't been any data at all. So I thought maybe I sent something around to a lot of people here, but for the people that didn't get it, I thought you might be interested in knowing that immunity may be pretty long lasting.
And Councilman, would that be after that second shot, right? It's very imperative that you get the second dose.
Probably after the second, but that's an unknown as to how much additional and the timing, how much protection. It's just that the trials use that particular, 3 weeks and 4 weeks. So that's all they have data for. And a question for Mike. Have there already been talks with the shores?
Pardon me?
Have there already been talks with the shores?
We have our consultant, Fred Farrell, transportation consultant, talking to them now so that we can get everything ironed out before we incur any major expense.
Are you talking about the vaccine, or you're talking about the sign?
The sign.
Yes, the answer is yes to your question.
Yeah. And are they amenable to it, or?
They would like us to participate. And if you look at the logo on the sign of the crossing, most of it is Daytona Beach Shores, and just a very small emblem for the spot. So I would imagine once that comes to fruition, if it does, we'll pay the lion's share of the cost.
Do we have any idea what the cost might be?
Not yet, we do not.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, we will be moving on to new business, the Economic Development Ordinance. And Attorney Carey, can you read that for us, please?
Yes, Mayor, this is ordinance 2021-01, an ordinance of the city of Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, relating to a comprehensive economic development program, providing for legislative findings and intent, amending the requirements to receive a grant, eliminating certain grant programs, making minor and technical amendments, making findings, providing for conflict severability, codification, and an effective date. And this is not a public hearing.
Thank you. Now, who is going to speak on this?
I think I will.
Okay,
Just
thank you.
as background, we talked about this extensively last month in our meeting, and I was given direction to amend the ordinance by doing several things. First is eliminating the renovation grant, eliminating the facade and beautification grants, and the business loyalty programs. And we've also just made some modifications and clarifications with consultation from staff as far as administering the program to improve the ordinance for administration by our finance director and others on staff. So this has been through staff, including the city manager, the planning director, finance, and also Nancy. And I can answer any questions that you may have about the ordinance.
Okay, so I just want to clarify, so when we first came out with this economic development incentive, we had said, you know, it wasn't going to be set in stone, that we were going to learn what was going on, what worked, what didn't work, and we'd make tweaks going along. So do I understand this ordinance is a result of those tweaks of what we've learned in the process?
That is correct.
Okay.
Staff has done a number of these at this point and has learned how to effectively administer this, and some of the ways that the ordinance was hindering administration as it had been, so we've improved it as such.
Okay, and am I correct in understanding that going for the majority or where we would prefer people to be would be on the lease subsidy?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for our attorney?
Do we need a motion before we discuss
I'm
this?
sorry, yeah, I'm sorry,
I move we approve.
thank you.
A second. I would like to comment that the revisions that we've made are more in line with what I had envisioned when we first started the program. It kind of just got out of hand and people were asking to do the routine maintenance, pay for cleaning up a property, light bulbs and all kinds of crazy things that we were being asked to pay for. So I think that this now focuses on real economic development and not scamming the city or trying to get the city to pay for things that really weren't in the program. So I am really glad to see this and wholeheartedly endorse it.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And we did put in a provision that specifically says that development is only for things that are permanent nature to real property. Equipment, replaceable fixtures, cleaning, and other maintenance services do not qualify.
Okay, I know you made a motion. Was there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, all right. Sherry, can you take a roll call?
Can I say something?
Certainly.
And to add on to Mel's comment, we did, as a city council, scrutinize some of those requests and denied them. So I remember your one comment about somebody wanted to re-blacktop their parking lot. We said, no, that's not the intent of this, incentive. It's more to beautify, enhance, or to assist to attract new businesses. So we did limit, and we denied quite a few, or we streamlined their request. And I remember going through quite a few of those grant applications.
Exactly.
I had meetings with some people prior to the request where they were requesting things that
We're maintenance.
prior to that, they removed them because they realized that they would not get approval if they had all of this.
Yeah. So I wanted to echo what you just said. As the city council, we made sure that they didn't get money to replace light bulbs and repaint.
They did, and that's the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Sherry, can you take a roll?
Councilmember Bryan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer,
Yes.
Councilmember Politis,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes. Nancy, so going forward, when someone applies to you, you will be explaining to them just what is involved, I mean, what their options are.
That's
And
correct.
right now, it is only the lease
Subsidy.
subsidy, okay. And that again is a 30, 20, and 10, we did not change that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Just to clarify, this will need to go on the next agenda for second reading.
Okay. Okay, next we are moving on to the second part of the new business, and that is an economic development grant application for Greater Fitness. And this would be next to Winn-Dixie, where we previously had another workout location that we greatly missed. So we're very, very happy about this. Nancy, do you have something to read to us?
Good evening, Mayor, Miller, and Council. Yes, we do have Greater Than a Gym doing business as Greater Fitness. They are a family business owned by Bill and Candy Simons, and Bill is here tonight in case you have any questions. This is their third gym. They have one in Port Orange and in South Daytona. And Vice Mayor Lindauer, thank you for pointing out my Scrivener's area. That was located on page 75 of the agenda. It should be a no, not a yes.
You didn't think of it?
I'm trying to follow in Stuart's footsteps, but I'm not quite there yet, so I'll get there. So the Economic Development Committee has recommended approval, and if you have any questions for?
I did have one for you. So when we do this lease subsidy, we have a cap, is it $20,000?
It's $20,000, yes.
All right, so if the 30/20 runs out before we get to the 10, then that's when it ends, correct? Okay, and if, we want them to stay forever and ever and ever, but if something should happen after a year and a half, then those payments would, okay.
Yes, yes.
Any other questions for Nancy? And do we need a motion on this? Okay, good.
What are the current hours?
It's a 24/7 gym.
And introduce yourself again, Bill. too.
All right. I'm Bill Simons. Been in the area for about 20 years. So the gym is owned by my family. So basically we're local. We're not a franchise. And basically one of the things we did to get the grant was extend our lease. We're out there for 5 years and plan on being there. I got a real good feeling about the shores. We live beachside, but a little further up north of here in Ormond by the Sea. So we know what the culture is of beachside and driving over those bridges and stuff like that. So we're hoping that people will go to our gym. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Current operating hours.
Oh, we're 24/7 gym, so we're open 24/7 with a card pass. The door is always locked. Our office hours where we're manned is 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. And on Saturdays, we're from 9 till 1. And Sundays, there's nobody in the gym. But if you're a member, you can come 24/7. So if you like working out at 2 in the morning, you won't see me there. You can come and work out. And we have 3 gyms, and you have access to all 3. So you can go to 333 Bevel, which is right on Ridgewood and Bevel. And in Port Orange, we're over at right where the Ritter's is and Tomoka Brewery, back in there on Clyde Morris and you know, that area too. So the gyms are about 5 miles apart so that we can move equipment around. We're not sure what the demographics are gonna be in the gym here. We can bring in more cardio equipment. We have to bring in recumbent bikes and stuff like that for the cardio, or we can bring in more weights. Chances are it's gonna probably be more cardio, considering the demographics we've seen so far.
And what do you require of the clients with regard to COVID?
We recommend masks. We follow whatever the city recommends as a requirement. So if the city requires masks, we would require masks. We social distance. The gym is locked, and basically we recommend masks, but as people are working out and they don't have a mask, we make sure that they social distance. And we don't do anything more than that, other than we could use more members, so social distancing wouldn't be so easy. But so far it's been pretty good, and we're a little bit nervous. We've curtailed our classes. We stopped them because of the numbers started moving up, and we just couldn't see bringing in like a Silver Sneakers class, which is predominantly people over 65 years old, in a group setting, and we just felt it wouldn't be the right thing to do. And we couldn't live with ourselves if somebody died that we knew, because they become part of our family. It's just one of those things where we're very concerned about it. Everybody can't wait to get the shot in the arm.
And I know it's not mandatory, well, you could make it mandatory, but with being in a gym, I see, but you're asking everyone to wipe down after they're done with
Yes,
it.
we have towels and spray bottles with antibiotics. We tell them to wipe down before and wipe down after, and then we go around and wipe down. But it's something that we're very concerned about and can't wait for it to move ahead. And we have no idea what this next year will bring, because people just are staying at home, and I don't blame them. And we highly recommend masks. I recommend masks, but if we were to require masks, we'd probably lose half our membership. It's just people are very resistant to their rights to wear or not wear a mask, but we can require social distancing.
Bill, I applaud your wisdom and courage to open up in these trying times, because I think that you will succeed. This will pass. I hope you reach the 200 members by the time where you have to either get out of the lease or remain. And so if you got 199, let me know.
We have right now 50 what I call paying members, and then we have the insurance. And what we're finding is our normal model of insurance versus paying is a little more skewed to the insurance side here. So the way it works is the insurance companies pay us, and people who have insurance get free gym memberships. So as you check in, we record it to the insurance company, and then about a month later, we get a check from them. So it works out pretty good, but we have, the main programs is Florida Healthcare and Silver Sneakers, and there's several other programs. We're committed to the insurance companies to produce healthier people, and they save money, the people save money, and we get members, but if people don't show up at the gym, we don't get paid. So that's the downside of the insurance. But we feel it's important. Florida Healthcare is a good partner for us, and they did some nice things for us during COVID. They even lent us some money and stuff like that. So that's a very good community effort.
Right. Just curious, do you get, I'm sorry, Mel, do you get the same reimbursement from an insurance company as you do from a self-pay? Say if you, I don't know, I think you charge like 30 or 35. Do you get that same, or only if the member shows up?
Only if the member shows up.
Wow, okay, so.
Yeah, so it's somewhere in the range of $3 or $4 a visit, and it's capped at some group. Some it's 8, some it's a little 9, some it's capped at 6. You know, it depends on which program you're in. And but we feel it's, if we can get the people, Silver Sneakers and Florida Healthcare people out and working out, we understand the benefits of that.
The self-pay person, whether they come 1 time or 30 times, you get that same amount?
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Will do.
Or if they come no times. There's some people that just want a gym membership, and we applaud them because that helps us out tremendously.
Well, I was actually there this morning, so, I think I'm ready to push the button on that. So, and there was another girl standing there with me that wanted to join. I think we were there a couple of minutes before 9 and there was.
Yeah, and Andrew opened up, my son.
Okay.
And he had some things to run that ran a little bit late in the morning, so I'll let him know, that he had
We'll try
people
and stop by.
standing,
We had 2
standing by the
customers
door.
today, right.
But what's great with the clock-in system is you can pretty much figure out when people come and go. And we got cameras in there for security, and so we're very excited about it. And you know, this year we're budgeting for a loss, but you know, the subsidy greatly helps. You know, and we appreciate it. And I had absolutely no problem extending the lease. I think I just screwed up your computer. All right, any other questions?
Do the insurance people count towards the 200?
That's, it does. What'll happen though is the 200 goes in at the $34.99 in our budget. I don't know if you saw the budget, but it's, the 200 goes into that part of the budget, and then down below is the insurance. So to answer your question is, no, it doesn't go into the 200, but the insurance number like started out at 0 and then 500, then 1,000. Well, that's going to run 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000. So that
All based on the dollar.
it's all based on the dollar. So
So you
what I would do is I would take the dollars that we get in and divide it by $34.99 as the equivalent members to get to the 200 and whatever the Florida Health Care and the insurance board. But you know, that's neither here nor there. It was tied into the original lease, was the reporting so that I could get out of the lease after 1 year. That was the importance of it. In order to apply for the grant, I had to extend the lease to 5 years. As a result of extending the lease, the math goes away because I can't get out of the lease. So that's kind of where the grant helped me out, and it helped the city out because it helped me to stay. So that's how it all worked out and came out. And I did push whoever I met with. I know I met with several of the people if they could make an exception. So if it was a disaster, I get out 1 year, and they said, no, it's part of our statute. And I complied, and hopefully, I'm excited about it.
We're excited to have you. Thank you. Any other questions for Bill? Okay, if not, do we need a vote on this?
Yes, you do. We're approving a contract. So
All right.
that takes board action.
I move to accept the grant.
Second.
Sherry, do you want to take a vote?
Councilmember Politis?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lindauer?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes. Welcome. We're glad to have you. Okay, next, we'll go on to council comments. Councilman Politis, what do you have for us?
Does anyone know what our COVID rate is? Like how many people, or does anyone on behalf of the county keep those records? I was just curious, because I remember when we had the issue and the doctor came, I remember when Dr. Woodard came, and back then it was 11. I'm curious what it is now.
It's very, very hard to track right now because some people will say, wow, you're doing a great job in the shores. It goes by zip code. And because we have a zip code in the county, a little bit of Daytona and this and that, you know, a lot of our numbers are put into that number, and it makes us look a lot better than it does, but I don't care how we look on paper. I'm very concerned about how we are. But the answer is no.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Too bad.
Unless somebody else has a different answer, that's what I was told.
I got to tell you, restaurants, Publix, Walgreens, anywhere I go, I mean, I'm always wearing the mask just out of respect for the other person. But I noticed that a lot of people are compliant.
Are compliant?
Yeah.
Great.
I see it quite a bit. And like I remembered before, the argument is on the weekends, now because it's cold, we don't get as many people visiting, then you see a lot more people who are not from here that don't wear masks. But I was just curious.
And again, it is the demographics, because right now the snowbirds that are coming are very, very sensitive to wearing them. Where in the summertime, we had a lot of maybe younger people, you know, with families didn't comply as much. So a very good observation, but that's what I've seen too. Anything else?
No, I gave my recommendations to Manager Booker. So.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Councilman Bryan?
No, I have no comment.
Okay, great. Vice Mayor Lindell?
I just stop by from time to time when I can to visit the small businesses to see how they're doing, if they're keeping their heads above water. And surprisingly, they seem to be hanging on. I know that places like Millie's and there are others where we gave permission to have outdoor seating. Millie's told me specifically they were really hurting prior to getting that. It was a 50%, but said that the outdoor thing brought them back to a point of where they are actually have their head above water now. So it's good. We really want to keep the businesses alive and get past this where they're all making money again. So.
Okay, great. And the only other things I had was, again, a reminder tomorrow that there'll be coffee with the mayor at 10 a.m. Upstairs. Our community service, marketing, recreation director has been gracious enough so that we can social distance that she's offered us the whole floor upstairs. So we're very well spread out. Requesting masks when you walk in the door. Naturally, when you sit down and you're eating or drinking, that's not required. But I want everyone to feel like they're in a safe environment. And the last thing is, I kind of fell into this. I didn't really know about this, but I guess our Peck Towers is going to try and have a restaurant up there again.
Yeah.
So very, very excited about that. Want to make sure that they open up on the right note. So Steve Edmonds, Nancy, our city manager, and myself are going to go on Thursday and just look at it, kind of check out what the menu's going to be. We're very, very happy to have that. I understand, actually, all the years we've lived in Daytona Shores, I've never been to the top of that. So I'm going to go look at that, you know, hoping that they have some quality food. We'll have to have somebody give them some pointers on how to have quality food, right, George? But, so anyway, just, you know, be on the lookout for that. Nancy, we are not having a concert in January, correct? No concert, but can you come up and just tell us a little bit the change in February food trucks, or what you're planning on doing? Hate to put you on the spot, but I think it's a great idea.
Our concerts don't start till 6:30, but we will be having food trucks starting at 4:30, and they'll be here till 8. There'll be probably 10 food trucks here, and they'll be in the field area.
Okay, so at McElroy Park, so right behind where the concert is. Great, good, okay, all right, and we're gonna try to see how that works out.
We'd like to do it, we've got it scheduled for 3 times this year. So February, June, and then October.
Great, good, all right, thank you. Okay, and anything else I don't have any audience comments, do I, Sharon?
No, ma'am.
Okay, anyone have anything they want to say? I always allow this time for anyone that has anything. Okay, Tony, come on up.
Real quick. Okay. Gotta get up here, Mike. Tony Ramazuski, Cloverleaf North. COVID vaccine, you're talking about the church. Is it a possibility we could have it right in here?
They're really looking for a drive-in. They're just worried, again, you know, people coming for the COVID. We want to try and separate them as much as possible. Yes, that's something, you know, and really the location, Tony, is not what we're worried about. You know, we can find a location. The vaccine is what we're worried about. So, you know, once they say the vaccine is there, we'll find a place. And they are very, very strict on what they're looking for. So right now, I've coordinated with Chief Dubinsky, with someone's going to be coming out to look at the Driving Christian Church, we hope this week. You have to have so many square feet, so many restrooms, be able to have people separated that are waiting after the shot. So this place actually would work out because of the upstairs and downstairs, but they're really looking for a drive up. So, you know, you drive up in your car, the medical personnel come up to you, give you the vaccine, put you over somewhere for 15 to 30 minutes where you're being monitored, and then pull out. so.
Okay, well, just keep it in the back of your.
Oh, sure.
And just to Councilman Politis, I gotta tell you that, wearing masks today and going into Publix or going into, I've gone into Walgreens, and apparently they can't enforce it. If people walk in, Councilman, they walk in, and from what I heard, I said, look at those people. You know what the help said? We'll get dismissed, we'll get fired. If we try to get in, we can only do it. But I said, you have signs out there, wear the mask. Can't do it.
So my understanding is, in talking to the manager at both Publix and Winn-Dixie, they do not want any of their store personnel reaching out to them. So if a customer complains, he has one of his management staff go up to them and say, we have free mask customer service. I'll be glad to provide you with one. If the answer is no, I don't want one, then it's thank you for shopping at Publix, have a nice day.
You can't stop it. They can continue, whether it's Walgreens or Publix, Mayor, they just can't stop it.
The irony is, you see stores that say, no shoes, no shirt, no service. And this is much more serious, and yet.
It is, Mel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, if not, what items do we have for next agenda except the workshop? And my idea was, and I'm open to anything, maybe us starting at 4:30 and going to 5:45 and have a recess before our meeting at 6. Councilman Politis, do you happen to know on that date? Should that be a problem?
I'll make it happen.
Okay, all right, okay. Does anyone have any other times that seem to work for them? Thought about an hour and 15 minutes.
I just wonder whether that's long enough.
Okay, this is just going to be selecting our topics.
Okay.
So
We're just gonna go down the list.
we're
gonna
gonna
say,
go
okay,
down the
those are
list
the ones
and,
we
yeah,
wanna
well,
talk about.
discussion. Right,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah,
and then we'll start working on them on separate.
That's
Okay, is that all right with you with that
Sure,
in mind?
sure.
Okay. Councilman Bryan?
No, that's fine.
Okay, all right, so Sherry, if you can write that down, we'll do 4:30 to 5:45, and then take a 15-minute recess. Okay. Any other items? So we'll have that second reading of the ordinance.
Yes,
Correct,
that's
okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, if not, then we stand adjourned for our first meeting of 2021. Thank you all for coming this evening.